August of 41 in Afrika, and Rommel has managed to drive the Brits back to the Mercier-Mathieu line, smashing a couple of those weak units, using overruns, etc. with the mechanized divisions. Powerful, impressive, but not enough, I would think. It's too late in the game for this kind of ground to be being fought over at this point. Yes, the British line is a little weaker than maybe it needs to be, but I don't think the Germans have the power to push their way not only through Mercier-Mathieu, but also through the El Alamein line, which is being fortified as a fallback position. Their biggest problem is supply. Last turn again, they only managed to pump 2 supply units through, which is actually pretty much the average using the shipping. And they took, they have at least 1 unit back here underneath that stack that's out of supply. Those big Italian divisions eat too much, and I don't know what to do with them. I'm starting to starve them off when there's an odd one here and there, just rather than try to save them. And that's not such a bad solution. They're still okay on defense if that happens, and they're really not helping much. I mean, the guys I have on the front line are helping. These guys did help push the attack through very, very heavily, and the artillery is helping. I just can't afford to maintain a lot of troops that aren't going to be directly involved. This is going to be, I mean, this is all, we see the wonders of the laminated map hardening the creases to such an extent that things don't sit on them right. They're really crappy. But this is a line that probably is not going to be easy to outflank. It looks like it is. We'll see what happens. I'm guessing that supply is going to be too hard, and there just aren't enough German units to maintain the supply line and manage an outflank of that position. Can't be positive. This, of course, is pretty much not outflankable. You have to bash your way through. And unless the Brits take some serious losses, they're not going to be so weak that they can't hold it. We got the losses. The piles of dead units. Alright. Halfway through the August turn here, and Rommel has pushed forward towards Mercier-Mathieu. Unfortunately, he got stopped dead there. Unfortunate for him, at least. The English forces in this town were larger and stronger than he thought, and he got smacked down hard in a couple of places, trying to punch just right through the center of that line. He did hit some weak units and break them from the edges, allowing him to make the attack at what he thought would be good odds, but the English line was more resilient than he thought. Supply is also a serious problem here. He had to leave, I believe, 4 Italian units out of supply. Yeah, and we've got them under those markers there. One of them was destroyed. Seeing a lot of the decent units, the anti-tank units, because they're only one step, and other such things dying off in combat, mainly because the Axis wanted to reduce their overall supply burden by taking losses. Yeah, it's better to lose the divisions, but if they have to lose something in combat, they might as well lose something that means their costs are reduced. We've still got the British half of the turn. Not sure what they're doing yet. September, and the English pulled their line back a little bit, just refusing and straightening it up a bit. You might think they want to abandon Mercier-Mathieu and pull back to the El Alamein line, or not abandon it entirely, leave a roadblock in the way. The reason I'm not doing that is primarily to get this additional South African unit up there so I have a divisional integrity. May seem a little silly if I end up like losing India because of it. I'm gonna feel really dumb. But right now it looks like I don't think that the Axis can get around and do anything really, really impressive without getting themselves completely cut off and hosed. Because I've got supply here at Mersa Matruh. I can do a lot from there even if I get pocketed. So I don't think it's too risky. Another thing, I fixed my poochiness issue. A couple of weights. That ain't too bad. Halfway through September, and Rommel continues to let the Italian units just disintegrate from attrition. But he has pushed beyond Mersa Matruh, and it looks like the Brits are going to have to fall back to the Al Alamein line. And he's weakened them significantly. I don't know if it's enough to push through that line, especially while Mersa Matruh is still there. You got some British reinforcements coming in regularly. So it's unlikely he's going to make Alexandria, but at least he's beginning to make better showing than he had been. Okay, end of September, the Brits have pulled back to the line. They've got a significant stack stuck at Mersa Matruh, kind of under siege. It's not strong enough to break out, I don't think. I didn't try. Forgot to spend my supplies. Big piles of dead and withdrawn units. Big piles on both sides. I don't know if the Germans can possibly break through that, but this is the time, if there ever is one. The hell with Mersa Matruh. They've just got to pin that down. They've got to try to smash this before too many British reinforcements come. They've got a couple of turns where there isn't going to be much coming in, and maybe they get lucky, maybe some withdrawals are forced. That would help a lot. November of 41, and things are looking very bright for the Axis, actually. So this is kind of the situation that people say Rommel lost his chance, waiting too long outside Al Agila and the Al Mahafa line. And here he's got the opportunity to hit it where it's actually weaker than it ever was, I think, historically. Anyway, he's got made an attack on Mersa Matruh, just an attrition attack, really. Not sure what he's hoping to accomplish with that. He managed to get rid of one of his black shirt units, though, so can't be all bad, and actually did more damage to the Brits. But the big area is right here on the line. Managed the first attack, the overrun attack, failed against the box, but then a secondary attack cracked it, and that armor unit here slipped out of Mersa Matruh. You can see there's an opening. I wanted to get as much out as I could, but the infantry really couldn't make it to where they'd be likely to survive. So at least they're more of a speed bump where they are. And I'm throwing up a second line of secondary defenses around Al Mahafa. If that breaks, it's over. I mean, it really is. Because once Alexandria falls, there's no more reinforcements for the Brits. And there's no way they just don't have enough on the map otherwise. It's not like they've got some secret stockpile in Cairo or something. That's everything for them. And they got the second really bad withdrawal result. The chances that this would actually happen are pretty low. It's basically there must be something horrible happening for this one to happen. But yeah, they lost a bunch of good units because of that. They're not getting anything this turn unless they get it off the random chart, and there's not enough there to stop the Germans. The only thing that could is a failure of supply. And the German army and the Italian army is getting a lot leaner. It's taken some attrition. I've got troops back here which I'm not bringing in because I don't want to overburden my supply chain. But still, it relies on some luck. I got a good luck last time. I was able to ship a couple points into Tobruk and use my trucks elsewhere. Halfway through November, and Mersa Matruh fell. Some of the supplies were captured. British retreated out. They had the option to stay. Doing so would have dropped them to like 1 unit damaged. There were also multiple attacks on El Alamein. The British are holding that, just trying to buy time to try to hold the Al Hamfa line. This is turning out a lot different than I expected. I still don't want to bring all my mobile units into play. Forgot to pay. Alright. Good supply turn though. In addition to the Mersa Matruh falling, there was good heavy supply, and we're seeing excess supplies in Tobruk and coming around the Cyrenaica. So we'll see if the Brits can hold out long enough to maybe turn the tide. I don't know. Halfway through the December turn, and the German attack presses forward through El Alamein, capturing a couple more supply, which definitely helped, and right up against that Al Hamfa line. It's still not certain to me. I mean, this is about as good as you could expect in terms of attacks have been going. Yeah, every now and then there's a setback, but the Axis is doing about as well as they can. They got very lucky on the Allied reinforcements, the variable ones. Those haven't been coming. In fact, a lot of times it's been rolling that really ugly number that already come too many times, the 4 or 5. There's not a lot there, but I don't know if they're going to make it to Alexandria. It's a tough slog to make it those last few hexes. Yes, they could run around, but not in keeping supply. Now, there's something kind of neat, which is there's a road which heads down to Cairo. That could be useful for supply, but they're at about the end of their supplies. The only reason they're doing as well as they are, they'd be really still stretching it, is the captured supply they found first at Mersa Matruh and then at El Alamein. They've got pretty good backups coming in terms of supply at this point, even though they got a crap roll this turn. But it almost feels like they have to win the siege. They can't try to finesse this by going around. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway. Certainly the Brits can't just leave Alexandria open at this point. They have to actually actively defend it, because there are units that can slip right in there. Alright. I guess it's about time to wrap this one up. I was hoping we'd have some sort of closure. Yeah, I can do the British turn.